I now recognize the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Timmons, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you letting me wave on this committee. I appreciate your testimony regarding the changes that have been made to make sure that this cannot happen again. For better or worse, the number one reason it probably won't happen again is damages. And I mean, insurers have estimated in excess of $5 billion in damages to your customers. I'm sure that there's going to be lawsuits and settlements for days. Can we talk about making the victims whole? I mean, you know, whether it's airlines, other critical infrastructure, what steps is CrowdStrike taking to, I guess, make it right, other than making sure it doesn't happen again, which is fantastic, and your response has been very admirable. But how do we make sure that any future incident is held accountable as it relates to making the victims of the breach whole? It wasn't a breach. Making victims of the incident whole. How does that work?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. We've been working with our customers to ensure that they are up and running. We've identified that as of 29 July, 99% of the sensors were back up and running. And we're working with our customers to ensure that we are able to help them through any issues that they are dealing with and continuing to support them in any way that they need.
I mean, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people missed flights. Businesses were inoperable for days or weeks. I mean, again, this isn't necessarily about CrowdStrike. This is about future cybersecurity incidents and creating a system through which people can be made whole. So in addition to getting people back up and running when their systems were down, I mean, y'all have insurance policies. There's a wide variety of legal mechanisms that will create accountability. Are you able to speak to any of that, or is that something that your lawyers would probably tell you to not talk about?
Congressman, I know people who are impacted by this as well. And as I said earlier, we're deeply sorry for what happened. We are working with customers to ensure that they have everything that they need to get back online. Most of them are back online, and ensure that they have what they need to feel comfortable that they're working with CrowdStrike. We're continuing to rebuild that trust. Trust takes years to make and seconds to break, and we understand that we broke that trust and that we need to work to earn it back.
Do you think your customers care that this was an innocuous fat finger as opposed to an actual breach? I mean, there's still damages associated with both. So, I mean, again, going forward, the global economy needs to have consequences for all types of cybersecurity shortcomings. So, I mean, do you distinguish between a breach and this faulty update?
Yes. I would say that there is a difference between a breach and when...
One that I can tell my constituents that miss flights and were stuck in airports for weeks that they'll care about? Probably not. I mean, so again, you don't want to talk about the damages and making victims whole, but I think that's an important part of this. You're taking additional steps, which are very important to make sure it doesn't happen again. But at the end of the day, part of this is making it right with the people that missed flights that weren't able to engage in commerce. And that's part of the conversation that we need to be having, because that is the deterrent threat to the future. And future incidents will occur. And the reason that businesses that have major cybersecurity breaches end up settling for hundreds of millions, billions of dollars in certain circumstances is because that is how they are made whole. And again, this was a fat finger. So it's not the same as a breach. I get what you're saying, but the damages are still the same in many respects. So we're going to, I'm sure, hear more about the manner in which your customers and their customers were made whole as a result of this incident. And I think that that's an important part of the story, because ultimately that's the accountability that our system provides to make sure it doesn't happen again, the deterrent threat. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Thank you.